He disclosed the contents of the letters to his fellows who blindly obeyed the orders. At Nakhla, the caravan passed carrying loads of raisins, dried grapes, foodstuff and other commodities. Notable polytheists were also there, such as Amr bin al-Adrami, Uthman and Nawfal, sons of Abdullah bin al-Mughira, and others. The Muslims held consultations among themselves with respect to fighting them, taking into account Rajab, which was a sacred month, during which, along with Dhul Hijjah, Dhul Qa'dah and Muharram, war activities were suspended, as was the custom in Arabia then. At last they agreed to engage with them in fighting. Amr bin al-Adrami was shot dead by an arrow. Uthman and al-Akam were captured, whereas Nawfal escaped. They came back with the booty and the 2 prisoners. They set aside 1/5 of the booty assigned to Allah and His Messenger, and took the rest. The Messenger disapproved of that act, and suspended any action as regards the camels and the 2 captives on account of the prohibited months already mentioned. The polytheists, on their part, exploited this golden opportunity to calumniate the Muslims and accuse them of violating what is divinely inviolable. This idle talk brought about a painful headache to Muhammad's companions, until at last they were relieved, when the revelation came down giving a decisive answer and stating quite explicitly that the behavior of the polytheists in the whole process was much more heinous and far more serious than the act of the Muslims. They ask you concerning fighting in the sacred months, i.e. 1st, 7th, 11th and 12th months of the Islamic calendar. Say, fighting therein is a great transgression, but a greater transgression with Allah is to prevent mankind from following the way of Allah, to disbelieve in Him, to prevent access to al-Masjid al-Haram at Makkah, and to drive out its inhabitants, and al-Fitna is worse than killing. Al-Quran 2-217. The words of Allah were quite clear and said that the tumult created by the polytheist was groundless. The sacred and inviolable sanctities had been repeatedly violated in the long process of fighting Islam and persecuting its adherents. The wealth of the Muslims as well as their homes had already been violated, and their Prophet, PBUH, had been the target of repeated attempts on his life. In short, that sort of propaganda could deservedly be described as impudence and prostitution. This has been a resume of pre-Badr platoons and invasions. None of them witnessed any sort of looting property or killing people except when the polytheists had committed such crimes under the leadership of Qars bin Jabir al-Fari. It was, in fact, the polytheists who had initiated such acts. No wonder, for such ill behavior is imminent in their natural disposition.